So we left the previous session. We are not going to convert. We are not going to convert. We should not convert. We should not perform any action on the boot partition, system partition. Please make sure whatever the action you are going to do. Okay, click cancel here. Okay, I can do convert to dynamic disk. When we can convert to dynamic disk, generally the requirement is there is no possibility in a server administration. If it is a physical server, I can add additional hard disk to the server, physical server. There is no possibility of expanding existing hard disk from 10 GB to 20 GB. The only option is available hard disk, physical hard disk. I can add additional hard disk. If you add additional hard disk, what I can do is I can make it as a dynamic. I can increase the space for any partition by choosing the existing hard disk, new hard disk. Okay, that's a dynamic, basic and a dynamic. Okay, so when the GPT is required, what is a MBR and GPT? MBR and GPT is a partition layout. Okay, so if you convert from MBR to GPT, you can convert, but what will happen? It is going to remove the layout. Remove the layout in the sense whatever the indexing and everything, it is going to remove. So that in the sense the entire data is going to loss. Okay, so you need to prepare a backup and you need to prepare all the setups and then only you can convert. If simply convert from basic to MBR to GPT, it is going to delete entire data. That in the sense layout it is changing, indexing it is changing, so it is going to delete entire data. So what conditions we need to perform conversion from basic to dynamic and MBR to GPT? MBR to GPT is going to destroy the data. Destroy the data, it is going to changing the layout, indexing and entire sectors, and it is going to changing the layout. Okay, when we need a GPT, if your sizing the file system should be more than 2 TB, then only we need to prefer GPT. Okay, that too we need to check the options available. Is a 2 TB assigning storage is available or not? We need to check that. Okay, that is it. From MBR to GPT, the data is going to last. Even same way from GP to MBR also data is going to last. Now basic to dynamic, I can change from basic to dynamic. While changing from basic to dynamics, there won't be any data loss. The existing layout, existing partitions, everything will be there as it is. There is no loss of partition table. There is no loss of data value. Okay, so converting to basic to dynamic, it is one direction only. Converting basic to dynamic, one direction only. I cannot convert dynamic to basic again. Okay, clear? This is a file system. Now we understood what is a create a file system, what is a disk management, how to create, what is the limitations and other things. Now next point is disk space issues. Disk space issues in the sense I need to do some housekeeping. What is files are important, what files are we should not touch. Open my computer and go to C drive, minimize this, practice disk management, understand the concepts, what are the concepts we discussed. Okay, so here there are different partition layouts are there. If the space is occupied, what it is going to show you, it is going to show you the percentage of free space availability. Okay, generally in system administration, what we are going to get a tickets, the C drive, as soon as operating system is loaded, we are going to load certain application, some different application to the C drive. Okay, what are by default path we cannot change. So what are the files are required to store on a boot partition, system partition, by default it will go and install. So certain cases what will happen, these particular drives are going to occupy the data and there is no free space availability. Okay, so I cannot delete any files, but I need to increase the size. How to create, extend the size, we notice that. Okay, now how to perform housekeeping, what files I can do, what files I can delete, that is important. Generally basic problem in a system administration, disk space issues. While working on disk space issues, what they are going to do, they are going to delete system related files. You should understand what is a system related files, what is a files which are not required for server. That is a housekeeping. How to do that? Open C drive. Okay, we should not touch any folders within this program files and Windows. Okay, there is a temp folder should be available. By default, go open Windows. By default, there you can create a temp folder, or else open Windows folder. There is a TMP folder. Select TMP, temp TMP, open that. Generally, whenever there is an issue comes in picture, see whatever the files are under this particular path, what are the files? Generally, whenever you complete the installation is going to create initially some temp files. The temp files is not required. I can clear the space. I can delete the files. Whatever the files are available under this temp location, I can delete all the files without any loss of operating system function. So I can delete any files under this temp location, but never touch the files and folders. Don't try to delete under Windows and program files. Okay, go up, go to C drive again, go back. There are other files available, preflogs available, program files is available. Okay, you should not touch any of this folder. What is a users folder? Open users folder. Whatever the user, for example, there are different users are available. These different users, what they're going to do, I log in as an administrator. Okay, what I did, I logged in as an administrator. By default, users directories are sitting on the C drive. If the user, a number of users can log into the server, I can log in, administrator log in, Srini can log in, Siva can log in, anyone can log in. Once they log into server as a part of administration, what they're going to do, they're going to copy or download some files to perform day-to-day operation. Okay, that files may not required. Where they are going to keep the files, either they keep on the desktop, either they keep on download folder. For each folder, the open double click on administrator. For each folder, there is a downloads folder is available, different folders are available. See, these files are related to respective user database. If you delete any files from this particular location, that user profile, the user profile is going to take impact. Other than that, nothing. It is not going to impact server operating system. It is not going to impact server function. What are the files you are going to delete from here? It is going to impact that respective user login. For example, they are going to save some files on desktop. Okay, user, without checking to that user, whoever belongs to that user, without checking to that user, we should not delete anything. Okay, if you are planning to delete, you need to intimate that user and get the permission and then delete it. Okay, generally users are going to save some important files on the respective desktop or in a download folders or in a my documents folder, anywhere they are going to save. Okay, by default, what are the files they are going to save? We need to intimate them before deleting. If this particular user profile, user folder is occupying more space, we need to perform housekeeping. As a server administrator, I need to work on free space issues. This user is occupying more space. What is the size of occupying? Go back to the users, go back to the users, right click on administrator, properties. You can come to know what is the size of this particular administrator. What is the size? It is just 4.85 MB. Generally, sometimes any user, okay, it downloads some file, 2 GB file and other things. Then it is going to show here. Then you can understand, if I delete this particular folder, I can get this much free space. But before deleting, you need to coordinate with the respective user before deleting, before performing any action. Okay, but deleting the files and the respective user, it is not going to impact server function. Okay, you should not touch, other than users, other than temp, you should not touch any files. Before deleting the files, there may be operating system related files, there may be application related files. If you delete without knowing, if you delete application related files, that is gone case. That application is not going to work. So make sure what files you are going to delete. You need to double check, is these files are required, what function it is doing. We need to cross check everything before deleting perform. Once you delete, gone case. Once you reboot the server, maybe during the patching or anything, the server is going to perform in different ways. You cannot troubleshoot certain situations. Okay, while working on dispatches, this is a main critical area where you are going to get number of incidents. Okay, in server administration. Okay, now this disk space and disk management, you clear. I hope you're clear. Now close this. Now what is the other important point is performance. Performance, how the performance tickets are going to come into picture. What is a performance? Okay, how to check my server performance. Okay, how to fine tune the server. Okay, now right click on taskbar, task manager, open task manager, server start task manager, expand the window, increase the size of the window. Okay, see there are different options are available. What is application, processes, performance. Performance tab is there. Open the performance tab. Click on performance tab. Here it is going to show you what is the CPU utilization, what is the memory utilization. Okay. So generally, if it is touching 100%, if it is touching 100%, what it is going to do, what we need to do, either CPU is touching 100%, either memory is touching 100%. We need to take action on that. Okay. So generally, if the memory is touching 100%, we need to add additional memory. If the CPU is touching 100%, it requires a more space. Sometimes what will happen, this touching 100%, but we should know which application is causing this particular, which process is causing this 100%. Go to applications, processes, click on processes tab. This processes tab is going to show all users, okay, all user, each process, what process is consuming more memory, what process is consuming more CPU. If you click on memory tab, memory function, it is going to order in a low to high, low to high to low. If you double one more click, if you click one more click, low to high. If you click one more click, high to low. This order is going to come. By seeing this, you can understand what process is consuming more memory. The similar function, you can click on CPU. Click on CPU. This is also, see, what is this first 96%, 99% is a system ideal process. Nothing, no action is required for CPU. Okay. So sometimes if it is any process is consuming like 80% out of 100%, here it is going to show you which process is consuming more CPU resources. So by that understanding, is this process, is it a virus? For example, system, desktop systems, you are going to see 100%, but that process is required or not. How to understand that? By selecting that process, you will have a description also. Okay, by seeing the description, if you are not able to understand what that process file name, that what are the process it is showing here, that exe, some exe file name, that file name you can Google it, internet, search internet, what this process is related to. That process is related to any system, operating system related or application related. Okay, so that we can take necessary action. Either I can kill why it is coming, memory resources or CPU resources. I can take action on that. Okay, according to the action, I can fine tune my server performance. Okay, this is a way I need to check the server performance, either CPU and memory. Okay, according to the availability, according to the troubleshooting steps, do I need to increase the CPU or do I need to increase the memory? Or can I kill this particular process to reduce the count? Even if you kill the process, what will happen? It is again going to come into picture. So to permanently stop that, what we can do, whatever the process it is consuming, the process we need to eliminate from the server. How to eliminate? Okay, either I need to go to add remove programs, I need to find out what it is related to. We need to find out what this particular process is related to, how to remove this. Sometimes virus issues, unknown process, unknown malware, unknown process are going to run and consume more processes. So for that unknown process, how to troubleshoot, how to reduce. If you open in search internet and try to understand that, they'll pinpoint that this is related to some malware. To fix this issue, you need to install this particular patch. You need to do these steps. Before performing any recommended steps, you need to identify are those steps are recommended for server. Generally, what happens while doing search engine, you are going to get a third-party application. It is a Microsoft. If you are working on Microsoft, you should install only Microsoft related. Third party tools we should not install. If you install, so what happens? That third party is going to get access on the server by installing. You might understanding that it is going to resolve the issue, but it is a fishy. It is a kind of spam. If you install without knowing organization, you should not install any third-party applications. You should not perform any third-party actions. Okay, only Microsoft KB article for every issue. Under system event viewer, we understand that what is the logs, what is the event ID. According to event ID, that event ID only Microsoft KB article, knowledge base, Microsoft related KB article only we need to follow step by step. Okay. Other third party performing, there are different vendors, different troubleshooting experts, they are going to provide different steps. It's up to you. Is it related to my server? Am I installing any additional component? Without installing additional component, if it is providing certain resolution steps, you can absolutely perform, no issues. But you need to correlate and make sure it is not going to harm the server. If something happens to the server is down in the sense it is going to impact entire environment. Okay, so be careful while doing actions troubleshooting. Okay, next, this is a performance fine tuning. Next, one more thing is virtual memory. Go to performance tab. See, this memory is doing this. What is a physical memory and what is a virtual memory? Okay, physical memory is nothing but what are the memory allocated to the server. Virtual memory is nothing but it is a virtual memory is going to come into picture as a page file. What is a virtual memory? Virtual memory is nothing but what some portion of hard disk space, some portion of hard disk space is treated as a secondary memory. Where to configure this virtual memory, how to fine tune this virtual memory. Virtual memory is very much required. You should understand the memory technology. Memory technology, there is a two concepts. What is that two concept? Pays in and pays out. Pays in and pays out. What memory is a kind of buffer. Whatever the execution, whatever the things are you going to execute, the data is going to copy to that buffer memory buffer location and execute as per CPU instructions. Okay, so sufficient memory should be available to execute any function. Okay, so how to increase the memory performance? So physical memory is not available. What physical memory is going to do, it is whatever the ideal pages, each page is going to work as a data. Okay, the pages, if it is an ideal position, that ideal page is going to page out from the physical memory to virtual memory. Okay, and then the active pages, the active memory is going to perform the operations for required application. Okay, once if the whatever the page is, it pays out to the virtual memory. If that application, that process requires some action, again what will happen? From the virtual memory, it is going to pays in from virtual memory pays out to the from virtual memory and pays into that physical memory, and then execute the operation to perform. Once that it is ideal, whatever the ideal pages are available, that ideal pages is going to transfer to virtual memory. How to configure the virtual memory? Okay, just go to server manager, click on server manager, select server manager. Here, change system properties. Under change system properties, the virtual machine concepts available. Click on advanced tab. Advanced tab. See performance settings. Performance settings. Here the configuration of virtual memory. Okay, click on advanced. See here, what is a virtual memory? It is going to create a total page file. Okay, 1 GB is allocated. Mine is 2 GB. Generally, the requirement, basic requirement, old operating server operating system, 1.5 times of physical memory. What is my physical memory capacity? It is 2 GB. 1.5 times means it is going to be 3 GB. How to add the physical virtual memory? How to increase the phase file? Click on change. I can choose any. There's select automatic options. There is the checkbox. Remove that checkbox. Okay. Now I'm going to create another drive wherein the D drive is there. The data is available. I'm going to select E drive. Under that, I'm going to create a phase file. Select E. Custom size. Select custom size. Just mention 1024. Max size is also 1024. Okay. And come down to J drive. Set. Click on set. Click on set. Okay. I set the file size. J drive. Here also set 1024. What I'm doing here, wherever the possible options is available, I'm going to increase the virtual memory and see the memory performance, how it is going to perform. Click on set. Generally, in the server administration, what they are going to do for phase file itself, they'll create a separate drive letter, separate partition, and whatever the phase file recommended value is required, entire phase file they are going to configure on the respective drive. They'll make it that respective drive as a phase file drive. Okay, they are not going to bother about the free space issues on that phase file drive because nothing do, no data, no issues at all. Okay, whatever the physical memory is available according to physical memory, that contents are going to transfer to the virtual memory. Okay, click OK. What I did, I added a virtual memory from certain value to different value. This system restart will before taking the effect. As what will happen, the system is going to take into effect while system reboot. So I'm not going to reboot the system now. I'm going to show work on. This is a way I can increase the phase file. If you increase the phase file, go to task manager. Start task manager. This memory graph is there now. Currently, it is 50% occupied. As soon as you increase that virtual memory, the graph is going to reduce. It is going to reduce the what are the files are available and what are the non-active, pageful, idle pages which are going to transfer to the virtual memory, so that physical memory utilization will come down. Okay, this is the way I can fine-tune the memory. Okay, the memory utilization directly depends upon virtual memory, phase file. Okay, what is virtual memory? Phase file. Virtual memory is nothing but some portion of the hard disk space is treated as a memory. Okay, physical memory and virtual memory. Okay, hope it's clear. Now this is a performance related. Now what is the other option? Minimize, close this. Important troubleshooting. The next one is services. Services in the sense, expand configure diagnostics and configuration. There is an option called services. Okay, generally if any function is working properly or not working properly, it is straightaway depends upon the services. There are certain processes are available, it is going to work on. If the service, what is that service is related, what function it is going to work, the description is available here. Okay, what is the function? Okay, what is that service is related? For example, what will happen if some application is not working and DB server is not working? you install, make it as a SQL components on this server. As soon as you install SQL server on this particular server, it is going to create some services, okay, on this particular server. To function that server, that application work properly, that DB related services should be up and running. That in the sense, status should be in a started position. Some application user stated that my DB is not working. Then immediately they will open a ticket with the server administration. What server administration is going to do? They are going to check that DB. Is there any free space issues on the disk? Okay, there is no free space issues on the disk. Then next action is, what is the server? What are services are available? Is the services started state or stop state? Generally, SQL service, they'll start with the SQL server on the application name. So we need to select that SQL server and make sure if it is in started state or if it is in a restarting state or if it is in stop state, you can right click on the respective, right click on one of the application, one of the service, right click on one of the service. Right click, any started service. See here, what the options are going to come: restart, stop, and other things. Click on properties. So these are different options while to configure server, how it is configured, how it is performing. Okay, is it automatic state or is a manual state? Drop down start server startup type drop down. What it is there? Automatic delayed, automatic, manual disabled. According to application, they are going to work on different parameters. Okay, generally all automatic services should start automatically as soon as server is coming start online. Okay, some services will be in manual. That manual service we need to start as per manual requirement. Okay, what are the services required? What are the services functions are required to perform the server function? The services are going to configure according to requirement. Okay, either an select automatic or start manual, whatever it may be. Okay, click cancel. So I can restart this application, this particular service by restarting this. Whatever the function is available, I can restart, I can stop, I can set the configuration to start automatically or start manually. What are the options? These are the services. Okay, the next option is domain login issues. Close this. Server, generally the problem is another issues. Server is not able to log in. User complains that I am unable to log into the server. Okay. All of a sudden you notice that logon service, there are no logon servers available. Okay, there are no logon servers are available. Logon servers in the sense, who is while using the logon, it is going to contact AD server to perform your logon request. If the user is not able to log on, that in the sense that particular server is not able to communicate with the Active Directory. Okay, what is the issues? What are the possible issues? The server, if the AD, it has to communicate with the Active Directory. What is the basic requirement while installing, configuring member server? What we did added the server to domain. Then only the domain user able to log into the respective system. Okay. So if the user is the server is in a part of domain or not, first we need to understand is the server is part of domain. What is the troubleshooting step? Am I able to log in with my ID? Am I able to log in with my domain ID? That is first step. Okay. The second step is, am I able to administrate ID? Administrator ID by default it is a domain privileges. If it is a group permissions related issue, by log into the user, it is going to throw in a different error. If it is out of the domain in the sense it is not part of member server of any domain, it will be out of domain. Why it is out of domain? There are two different scenarios. What is the two different scenarios? Maybe some additional server with the same ID. So each server is going to, as soon as its domain added, the server is going to add an SSID, GUID. Okay, that IDs should be unique. If that IDs are not unique, you will be out of network, out of the domain. Out of the domain in the sense you will not be part of domain. Why it is happening? Why it is the server is coming out of domain? It because of some GUID conflict or SSID conflicts. How to resolve that? By doing sysprep. Okay, go to run sysprep, SYSPREP. Yes, execute sysprep, right click on sysprep and run as administrator. Run as administrator. See here, it is going to run what it is going to run. This it is going to remove all identical components. It is going to create a new IDs. By system name, we are able to understand this is a system name, but one system to other system, it is going to communicate with some SSID and GUID. Okay, to change those IDs, okay, this sysprep is going to executable. What it is going to do if the system is keep on coming out of the domain? That in the sense, if it is keeping out of the domain in the sense, it is conflicting with some ID in AD. So due to which it is coming out of the domain. So to resolve that issue, we need to, whatever the server it is coming out of domain, we need to execute this sysprep. This sysprep is going to run and change the IDs to different unique ID. Okay, this is one issue.
Hello.
Whatever this, click cancel here. We are not going to execute this sysprep, click cancel. This is one option to change the GUID. The other problem is DNS issues. If the DNS is not working properly on this particular server, the server may come out of the domain. They are not able to log in. How to test the DNS communication? Where we are going to configure DNS IP under IP properties, open system properties and open network connections. Go to server manager. Select server manager. Open network connections. Open network connections. Okay, right click on that. Properties. TCP/IP properties. See here, the DNS is, what is a DNS server? The DNS server should be in a communication state. If the DNS server is not in a position to communicate, the domain functions are not going to work. You are not able to log into the server may come out of the domain. For every communication with the AD, the DNS server should function properly. To test the DNS, first I need to check is this DNS is able to ping or not. Open command prompt and check DNS server is able to ping or not. So this is the first step. Ping the DNS. What is my DNS IP? Ping IP address 192.168.222.10. Destination unreachable. Why the AD server is shut down or what? Okay. Okay. Leave this. Keep it aside. Generally, it should get response. If the AD server within my environment, if it is not functioning, I am not in a position to log into the server. Okay, that is the first point. Second point is how to check the DNS server is pinging. If the DNS port, what is a DNS port? The DNS port should be open and should be able to communicate. How to test the DNS communication? NS lookup. NS lookup. NS lookup. This is a command to test the DNS function. It should resolve with the DNS server IP by connecting to the respective DNS port. Just enter. Whatever the DNS is, if it is able to communicate pinging response, then you are going to get a response. Now, what is happened here? It is not resolving. In my environment, what is the DNS server? My DNS server is 10. Maybe that is down. Because of that, I am getting this issue, these two issues. Otherwise, I should be able to ping DNS. I should be able to log in to this particular server. NS lookup will resolve the DNS server IP. Okay. Because of the DNS issues, you are not in a position to log in. That is one scenario. And other scenario, none of the users are not able to log in to this particular server if DNS is not going to work. To log into the servers, DNS communication is must, and at the same time, Active Directory communication, Active Directory server communication is must. Both communication. Before checking Active Directory function, we should make sure DNS is working properly. Then only Active Directory function will work. If DNS, there is no Active Directory. Okay, you should understand that point. Okay, why the server is coming out of the domain? Server is coming out of the domain because of ID conflicts. In AD, for each server name, there will be an ID. Okay, each server is going to communicate with the AD some address. That address we call it as SSID, GUID. If it is keep on coming out, as soon as you add it, after some time, 2 days, it is coming out. It's generally because of certain actions, certain functions that we can resolve by using sysprep. Okay, these are the troubleshootings, basic troubleshooting, day-to-day activities. Okay, if you encounter any other issue, first what you need to check, you need to go to event viewer, try to understand what is the issue. Okay, services, DNS, yeah, all these things we need to check. We need to correlate each issue, what is correlated, what function, what error you are getting, that what error is related to what. Everything you need to understanding by related to basic information what you learned. Okay, without understanding basic, you are not in a position to start that, where to start, where to go, okay, where to click. Okay, these are the basic understanding. For dispatch issues, what we need to do. For network related issues, what we need to do. For DNS issue, what we need to do. We should have correlate each and everything. Okay, if the user is not able to log in, RDP, for example, RDP, I'm getting the prompt, user is trying to log in, the user is getting an issue, what error? You don't have certain privileges, you don't have certain privileges. By understanding that error, I can understand some issue. What is that issue? It is related to permission, not related to DNS, not related to AD communication. It is related to permission issue. You should understand what is that error. According to the error, we need to start troubleshooting. Okay. For example, the permission issue is getting RDP access is not available. It is throwing an error. User doesn't have permission. If you are going to search DNS function and other things, does it make any sense? So you need to correlate whatever the issue is coming to picture. You need to correlate and where to go, where to start, where to isolate the problem. Okay, this is all comes in server administration. Okay, by basic understanding of server administration and components, we understood the DNS, what is a DHCP, DNS, how plays an important role. Okay, how the services, how where to check the logs. Okay, how to check the dispatch issues. These are the day-to-day troubleshooting issues. There are different issues comes in picture. According to the issue, we need to start troubleshooting. Okay, this is all about server administration. Okay, by this I completed Windows Server installation, configuration, troubleshooting. Okay, so tomorrow session I'm going to take about I'm talking about process, ITL process. Okay, after that we'll start virtualization. Okay, thank you, bye all.